Woman, won't you find your voice? Oh, woman, won't you find your soul? Woman, won't you find your voice? Oh, woman, won't you find your soul?
I think I was born a feminist because my parents were very open-minded, and I should say particularly my father, because of his generation. He just believed that everybody was equal, and we were raised to be equal in our home. We had just one brother and 6 women, and we were told to be whatever we wanted to be, and we were also told we had to learn to do everything. We had to do what are termed as male roles, and that we had to learn what are termed as female roles. And we lived on a farm, so it was inevitable where you were doing manual physical things like mending fences or putting tiles on the roof. And we also come from a rural community, so we knew we were different because there were norms, and which were quite strict, but we were very different. But I remember when my father decided for some strange reason that I was his other son, which is very strange because in my family I'm the most female-formed human, but I was the other boy in the family, and that made me start thinking about my identity and my sexuality from a very early age. And I myself had a complexity about my own identity in that community, and I didn't have the language for it. But I think I realized I was really a feminist when I was 15, when you grow up and you're trying to work out who you are and what you are. So I think 15, and there were reasons for it. There were women burning bras in Europe, and there were strong women in Kenya, Wangui, starting the Green Belt movement, Mishere Mogo, out in public. There were women driving rally cars, a spectrum of these amazing women who are my mother's peers. So I just thought, yeah, that's how women must be. So I was happy to identify as female, although I was complexed by this upbringing as a male child. But I felt happy to be both identities at the same time. So I'm like the new human. And I grew up feeling comfortable as both male. I was reared as both consciously by men and women, and there was no argument about it. I know I wore my first trousers by choice when I was about 15, and that caused a big stir in my village. And then again that began to raise many questions about, do I want to wear a dress or do I want to wear trousers? In my identity, not in my performance of my day-to-day life, but we'll leave it there for now. I come from a matrilineal society, so some of the gains that we've made are not really gains in the traditional sense, because we had these powers already, but we lost them to colonialism and increasing African patriarchy, which I don't know where it gets its claims from, because if it looks back to its history, it's a matrilineal power system, but it's been maintained in sort of secret, this matrilineal society, so it's still there and asserts itself. So I grew up in a matrilineal reality. They haven't done away with it as such, and you feel those divided spaces, which I think in most of our cultures here in what we call the Bantu world, that there's this division of labor. And those divisions of labor were quite powerful spaces, although we see them in Western terms as like female work or domestic work, or there was reasons for having, women give birth to children and want to nurture them in specific ways. So those spaces are still valuable spaces, and women do escape to female spaces, whether it's for whatever, baby showers or whatever. So the spaces are there and they're good, but it's the purposes to which we can use them. It's a complex question, but I think the actual articulation of feminist theory and ideology is a good thing for Africa, because we can shape our vision for our present reality and what we would like or what we want or what we would want for future generations, and what is right really for us as human beings. Because all our governments say citizens, but we know that they don't mean us, they mean small spectrum of elite human beings. So our movement is beyond articulating issues about women, but articulating issues about peace and democracy in its real meaning, and inclusion in its real meaning. And we're getting greater clarity because we're a vanguard movement for our continent, but we're still so much in the fringe that we have a lot of work to do. But at least we have this space, and it's broad, it's transnational, it's got family, global family, with other feminists struggling with similar issues as us in their own patriarchal societies. But I still feel that our African movement is a very important movement in the world, and if we know our rightful place really in history, we have a lot to do, and I still think we don't realize this, so we are organizing in ways that might defeat our role, which would be a pity for history. I think it's the most precious space for African women, to have a place where you can be with people who think like you about the transformation of our continent. Not just, we talk about equality a lot and inclusion, but I think it's about a place where you can claim your full humanity, which has been historically denied. So I think this is the foremost space in which there is articulation and a community of practice and solidarity across our Black and African world. So for me it's a very exciting place to be, and I'm really honored because I'm quite old feminist, and this is my first time to attend this meeting. So I'm really excited and happy for the recognition, because that's what it is partly, but also just the opportunity to be here and to see young feminists, older feminists, friends, people I've grown up with, who we built the movement with. So this for me is very special. It's been just so full of emotions, like roller coaster. I have to hold myself. I couldn't do this interview yesterday because there's just so much to take in the event itself, just looking around you and seeing who's in the room. We may not realize it historically, but these are historical. Looked at in the future, these are historical events, and I'm really interested in history. But it's just the ability to bring this number of women together, sharing and talking about their work over time. And I've known some of them for 20, 30 years. And to see that we're still going strong despite the challenges. And for me the most exciting thing has been to see the young women, and to see the inclusion of people with disabilities, to see, because when our movement began there was a lot of homophobia, to see inclusion of LGBTQI communities. And it's not, I still think that we have tensions, but that we're at least grappling that this is our community in its wholeness and fullness. We still have a way to go within our own movement, because we are a reflection of society, and we're not pure and outside. I think we need to organize more in the countries, and we need to have broader spaces in which to operate. I like the model of having a forum, which is like a strategic vanguard space, but I think we need to get the message out there. We must practice ourselves. I like that we have a charter, but I like to think about an idea of accountability to the charter, because it's one thing to sign any document, but it's another thing to be called to account, either to yourself or to your peer or your peers, as to what did you do in the last year, what do you think you did well, even individually. But also I think it's good to have accountability to your peers in terms of how you practice this, and also to critique ourselves, because I've not been here before, but I know people sometimes think that our movements are elitist, and it was said even here, so I think I'd be fair in saying that. And that sometimes we replicate patriarchal models that we're trying to dismantle. So it's a complex thing, and yet if we don't sometimes enter those spaces, then we look abnormal and we're not able to push into the spaces we need to. So it's about being open about why we're doing things, because we're, we have to be strategic, we have to be tactful, and the world speaks a certain language. So sometimes you speak that language consciously, but if somebody who knows you sees you doing those behaviors, they could wonder whether you're a hypocrite or whether you. So it's very complex, but I believe we must live as we are trying to advocate, that people must become, we must live that in our bodies and let people see us as role models. Yes, well, Yvonne Vera, because we're here, and Stella Chiweche, Miriam Makeba, Chisera Iboria, Audrey Lord, and Maya Angelou, Amma Ataidu, Wanjiru Kihoro, Wangari Maathai, Winnie Mandela. We don't like to talk about her very much. Oh my God, Angela Davis, Toni Morrison. I could be here all day. All the wonderful women here, Amina Mama, Aisha Imam, Bisi Adele Fayemi. I could go on and on. But I want to remember them, particularly our heroes in particularly our armed struggles, who pioneered the way. Because I think it was very important that we're here partly because of them. We don't know their names. But in Kenya, I know that without the Mama women who started the struggle for land and freedom, that we wouldn't be here as feminists today. So I want to pay tribute to them.
And oh, woman, find your soul. And don't let them tell you that this isn't yours. 'Cause you are yours, your voice, your power, your soul. Baby, don't let them tell you that this isn't yours. 'Cause you are yours, your voice, your power, your soul. Your voice, your power, your soul, your soul, your voice, your power, your soul. Oh, oh, woman, won't you find your voice? Said woman, won't you find your soul? 'Cause this is yours, oh baby, you are yours. Your voice, your power, your soul. Your voice, your power, your soul.